So it's now that stage of the year where EFL clubs are starting to release their kits going into next season. Let's take a look at some of them. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. What I thought we'd do for today's video is sort of give you guys my initial reaction to some of the kits that have been released so far by different EFL clubs. Obviously, not every Championship club has yet unveiled their new kit going into the new season. And over the next few weeks, once every Championship club has released their kit, I will do a full, comprehensive review where we give every club a different grade and stuff like that. But for today's video, I just thought I'd give you my initial reactions to some of the best and worst kits that have been released so far. Let me know down below what you make of all these kits. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like. If we could hit 350 likes, that would be massively appreciated. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. And the place I wanted to start out with was Hull City. This is their home kit going into the 21/22 season. Now, Hull usually come up with kits which divide people's opinions. I think that this one right here is probably going to go ahead and do the same again. They've gone for the seatbelt going across the kit, which does look a little bit like a car's just run over it. Every year we see one or two clubs go for this sort of look. For me personally, I'm not sure if the Hull kit's doing it for me this time round. If you're into that sort of style, then I can see why you'd like this sort of thing. You know, they've tried to switch it up a little bit because it's not just a full block line going through it. Last time Hull were in the Championship, they came out with this kit, which seriously divided people's opinion, and I was completely on board with that kit. I absolutely loved it. For the one they've gone for this time round, though, I'm not sure if I'm feeling it. It might grow on me though. Whenever I see those sort of seatbelt kits as well, I can't help but think back to this Huddersfield kit, obviously the spoof one from the 1920 season. Speaking of Huddersfield though, this is their home kit going into next season. I've got to admit, out of all the kits that have been released so far, I might be the biggest fan of this one actually. I think it's a really smart looking kit. I think I prefer this one to what Huddersfield were rocking with last season. I think everything fits quite nicely into this one. It's another one which is made by Umbro. The stripes I think look really nice. What they got going on around the neck and collar looks nice as well. As I'm sure we'll get into the more sort of kit videos we do, the sponsor on a shirt can absolutely make or break a kit, and on this one it doesn't look too out of place. So yeah, big fan of that one from Huddersfield this year. They've done quite well with that one. Another kit which I'm a big fan of is Middlesbrough's home kit going into next season. At first I wasn't all too sure what to think of this one, but once you look into sort of the finer details on this shirt, I think it's a really nice one. The only thing that takes away from this one is the 32 red, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm glad that Preston have sort of ditched their sponsors going into this next season, but it's the fine detailings on this shirt which really make it. You can see the outline of the transporter bridge, which is on the shirt there in the background. Obviously a famous bridge in Middlesbrough, that's quite a nice detail that they've added onto it. Also the fact as well that I read that the badge is actually sewn on, and I can't tell you how much of a difference that makes. I hate it when you get these sort of plastic badges which are just stuck on. Honestly, I absolutely hate it. It's something that Preston have been doing in recent years, and I honestly can't wait until we go back to something like this. So yeah, that gets extra points. I'm a big fan of that one from Borough. Next up we then get to Nottingham Forest, where I mean it's alright. I think they played it pretty safe and within the box for this one. I think I did prefer Forest home kit from last season personally. Like I say, this one's not too sort of out there. They've kept this one pretty safe. It's not going to offend anyone. It's alright, but I think I've seen better. Ipswich Town's home kit going into next season has got a lot of people talking. In some ways it's fairly similar to kits they've had in recent years, but the thing that's got most people talking is obviously that sponsor. They have got a bit of banter already about Ed Sheeran sponsoring it, but to be honest with you, I don't actually mind that. Next up then we'll go to my club, Preston North End, who released our kit the other day. I don't mind this one. I think that of the kits that have been made by Nike, this for me would be one of the better ones that we've had. The sponsor's obviously been switched up this time round. I'm thankful that we've gone away from 32 red. I think that this sponsor fits into the shirt a lot nicer with the blue on the white. I like the sort of funky pattern that they've got going on around the sleeves, but to be honest with you, I've never really been a huge fan of any of our kits that have been made by Nike, and I'm sort of looking forward to us moving away from Nike eventually. But as far as home shirts go for North End in recent years, that one for me would be up there. After that we then get to the Blackpool kit, which I think is definitely going to divide people's opinions this year. You're either going to love this sort of thing or you're going to hate this sort of thing. Where do I fall on the fence? I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this one at all. Pretend to be shocked, you know, a Preston fan not liking the Blackpool kit, but for me, he's just not doing it. It may be one of those that looks a little bit better in person, but for me, it just looks a little bit messy and all over the place. But like I say, I feel like that one's going to be a bit of an opinion splitter. Stoke's home kit, probably what we come to expect from Stoke over recent years. There's only probably so much you can do with red and white stripes. The kit that I wanted to focus on for Stoke though in today's video was their away kit, which they've just released. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know my general thoughts on green kits, and for the most part, it doesn't take a lot for these to look really ugly for me. But I think Stoke have managed to create quite a nice looking one this year actually. I think the pinstripes and everything else makes it look quite nice. So yeah, I don't mind that away kit. The Stoke away kit is definitely giving off can I copy your homework vibes from the Plymouth home kit this season though. Don't think there's any arguing that one. Another away kit which is bound to get people talking is the Bristol City away kit, and I can't lie, this had so much potential and was so close to being a great kit, but the sponsor completely ruins this one. I remember talking about this on last year's kit videos we did, but that is such an ugly sponsor slapped in the middle of what could be a really nice looking kit. You know, the sort of bottom half of that shirt is looking alright, but then the more you get up, it just takes away from it all completely. Also, I'm not sure what I think of badges in the middle of football shirts. What do you guys think of it? I don't know if I'm the biggest fan. Next on then, we'll head over to Peterborough's home kit. Listen, you heard my thoughts on Hull's kit before, who went for that sort of seatbelt pattern. Peterborough have sort of done the same thing here. Last season's Peterborough kit was really nice. I don't think that this one quite lives up to that one. Speaking of a disaster of a home kit though, this is Cambridge United's home kit going into next season. Oh my god, I think it's dreadful. Listen, some people are going to absolutely love this, and I'm sure that people are going to tell me in the comments down below how great this is because they've switched up and stuff like that, but I can't look at that and say I think that's a nice kit. It looks like a Wetherspoons carpet or something like that. If it's any consolation to Cambridge United fans, I think the away kit they've gone for this year is looking very smart, but that home one, not for me. Let's bring the levels back up again though, because this is Birmingham's home kit going into next season, and this one, yes, I'm a big fan of. I think that Birmingham have got this one absolutely spot on. It's made by Nike, who usually for their sort of championship kits can get a little bit lazy with, and there's not all too much sort of imagination gone into them, but this home kit for Birmingham this season, it's a really fresh and tidy looking one for me. Obviously the betting sponsor's on there, which isn't ideal, but it doesn't necessarily take away from the shirt. You know, you compared that to the logo that Bristol City have got slapped on their shirt. This one's a lot more discreet with it just being the white lettering. All in all, I'm a much bigger fan of that Birmingham kit this season. This is Crew's kit going into the new season, and do you know what? I think that this one's a bit of a banger, to be honest with you. It's unique in its style. I think that the white blends in really well with the red. The badge looks nice in it as well. The sponsor doesn't look out of place at all. It actually fits into the shirt really nicely. So that one's got a bit of a unique twist to it, but there's not all too much going on where it's a bit too over the top. So yeah, Crew done alright with that one. I quite like that one. Lincoln are definitely in the conversation for the worst home kit of the year. This one is absolutely awful, and another example of a sponsor completely ruining a kit. Barnsley's new home kit is, I mean, it's pretty much identical to the kit they had last season, to be honest with you. They pretty much copied the formula from that one and slapped it onto this season's kit. There are a few changes, but nothing all too notable. It's certainly not going to be winning any awards for creativity, I think it's fair to say. Gillingham have released the concept of what the kits will look like going into next season, and do you know what? That home kit, especially the blue and black stripes, I think looks really nice. Sort of gives off those like Inter Milan vibes, if you will, about that one. So yeah, that along with the away kit, I think is looking pretty tidy. And you know what? One of the kits which is weirdly growing on me the more I see it is Barrow's kit going into next season. Obviously, it's going to be another season for Barrow in League 2. And they're going to look quite good doing it. There's quite a bit going on with this one, but I quite rate the sort of unique design pattern that they've gone with here. The sponsorship doesn't ruin it for me either and look like all too out of place, and I think that looks alright, you know. And then to finish things off, we have the Rotherham United kit. They've gone for the pinstripes this year. Now, originally, I wasn't all too sure about this one, but I think I just saw it on a bit of a dodgy angle from the picture that I originally saw, because looking at this version of it here, I think that one's looking pretty tidy for them, to be honest with you. I definitely think I prefer this one to what they were rocking with last season. So, yeah, they're all right there, Rotherham. I quite rate that kit with the pinstripes. But guys, there we have it. There were all the kits that I wanted to go over today. Obviously, we're still waiting for the majority plenty of other championship clubs to go ahead and release their kits into this upcoming season, but just sort of my initial reactions to some of them that have been released so far. Once all the kits are right, I will be doing a full comprehensive review of all the home kits and all the away kits going into next season. I'm looking forward to all them being released, but this time of the year always gets me quite excited, really. You know, it's preview time going into this new championship season. I've got a good feeling that it's going to be a bit of a cracker as well. So as always, guys, if you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Also, do stick around and subscribe for a bit of regular championship and EFL content on the channel. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.